Hello everyone. Good day to you. Welcome to the webinar for the H2 and B2. My name is Kong from SAJ Technical Support Team. Now let's start our webinar for H2 and B2. For this webinar, I will divide it into two parts. One is the introduction of our H2 and B2. And the second part is the monitoring systems for the machine. Sorry. Oh. As we know, our H2 and okay, we can check here. As we know, our H2 and B2 is a high voltage storage system. So why we choose to use the high voltage? Because it can up to a high efficiency for the whole system. This is the H2 hybrid solar system diagram. It takes the same to our H1. The difference is we use the high voltages for the battery. Our B2 lithium battery is the high voltage battery. And also our backup port supports the unbalanced output. Later, I will give you the details of the unbalanced output. For our H2, we have two series. One is the single phase and the second one is the three phase. For single phase, we have 3 kilowatts, 3.6 kilowatts, 4 kilowatts, 5 kilowatts, 6 kilowatts. All of them are 2 max power point tracking. And for three phase, they are 5 kilowatts, 6 kilowatts, 8 kilowatts, and 10 kilowatts. The H2, the first H means the hybrid, 2 means the second generation technology, and number 3 is the running output power, and number 4 is the X means the single phase, and T means the three phase. Here is our B2. B means the battery. It is a thin iron battery, and 2 means the second generation technology. The battery energy is 5 kilowatt hour. So if we the max battery energy for 1 hour is 25 kilowatt hour. We can install 5 B2 in the same tower. For our H2, it is compatible with our SAJ brand battery B2 and also the Pylon and Dynex battery. For our H2, there are three working modes. First is the self-use working mode, and second one is type of use mode. The third one is the backup mode. For the self-use mode, the period generations will supply we supply the load first, both the on-grid load and the backup load, and the surplus energies will charge through the battery. If the battery is full, in this condition, the surplus energies will export to the grid. But if you set the export limitation, it won't export the energies to the grid. It will limit the generation. It will limit the generation by itself. Then also when it is a night, the battery will discharge to supply the load first. Only when the battery energy is not enough, then the grid will supply the load with the battery together. And the second mode is time of use mode. In this condition, we can set the charge time and charge power of the X2. Oh. So in some areas, their price are different. So we can set the charge time for the X2 when the electric price is low, and when the electric price high, we can set the discharge time to supply the load. And backup mode. In this mode, we need to set a remade SOC value for the battery and the X2. So when the SOC is higher than this value, the inverters will work in the self-use mode. But when the SOC is equal to this SOC value, the battery won't discharge energy to supply the load. Only when there is a blackout, then the battery will discharge to supply the load. Here is the LED of the X2. We can check the H2 status according to this LED state. Okay, maybe. For the LED indicator, we have seven size for them. One is 6-ton battery, 3 PV backup and communication and cloud. So when it is on, it means that part is working. When it is flashing, that means it is in different status. For example, for the battery, when it is on and off, flashing for 1 second, that means the battery is charging. And when it is on for 1 second and off for 3 seconds, because that means the SOC is low. When it is off, that means the battery is disconnected or it can't be detected. Here is the B2 LED indicator. So there are 3 different status for the B2 LED. One is green, red, and north. When the green light is when the light is in solid green, that means the battery is in normal. But when it is in breathing, that means the battery is in initialization or it is in standby. When it turns to red, it means there has an error. And when it's breathing for the red, that means the software for B2, BMS is upgrading. H2 interface. A is our DC switch, and B is our PV input. D is our battery input. E and F are the communication board. For the E port, E mainly for the and E is mainly for the BMS CAN port and meter port, and F is used for our H2 parallel solutions. It is for the backup port parallel solutions, and this function is still in developing. And G is the module port. We can connect the 4G modules, Wi-Fi module, and Ethernet modules to it. H is our backup port. I is the on-grid port. For the B2, we have two parts. One is the battery control unit, and the second part is the battery unit. The battery control unit is mainly for communication with the H2 and control the energy charge and discharge. The position 1 is the battery port, negative and active port. It is used to connect to the inverter. And number 2 is the communication port. It also used to communicate to the inverter. And number 4 is the circuit breaker. When we switch on the circuit breaker, then the battery will get energy. The battery control units will get the energies from the battery unit. 5 is the display. On this display, it will show the SOC. Number 6 is the battery negative and positive parts. Is mainly for the parallel solutions for the battery. That means when we have 2 tower battery, we can use this ports to make these two tower battery in parallel. Number 7 is main switch. When this switch is on, then the BMS is on. And number 8 is also the communication port for the battery parallel solution. This is the battery module unit. A and B is it is for communication with each battery or the battery control unit. D and E is the battery positive and negative port. And here is the H2 and B2 connection. There's one thing we need to concern is the phase sequence of grid ports should be the same to the backup port. And here I would like to mention is the unbalanced output. That means for our backup port, it doesn't need to use all the three phase. If our load is single phase, all the two phase, we can connect the load to the backup ports directly, and the backup port will supply the load. And if you just connect only one phase, the maximum output of the backup port is 4 kilowatt. Here's the B2 modules connection. We use this battery positive and negative ports to connect to the inverters, and use the DMS cables to maintain communicating. Here's the power cables to connect all the battery and the battery control unit. Grounding cables, made in parallel grounding cables. And communication cable. And we need to consider this for the last battery on the bottom. At the bottom, for the bottom's batteries, we need to plug the RJ45 plug here. It is 120 ohm resistance. If we don't connect the RJ45, the battery won't the battery can't communicate with each other. Here's the H2 parallel solution. It is just for the on-grid side, on-grid pulse parallel solution. We can use the IS485 to make them communicating. And then we connect the communication cable to the meter. And these conditions, the backup port and the battery will work in themselves. Monitoring system. We used our eSolar portals for the monitoring. For our X2, it is compatible with the 4G modules, Wi-Fi modules, and also the AIO3 modules. For the 4G modules, we just need to connect the 4G modules to the inverters, then it will work, and we don't need to configuration the network. And for our AIO3 modules, it includes the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and also the Ethernet. And all of them, all the three modules have the Bluetooth function. So here's the way we use to connect, we configuration the network. First, we need to download the eSolar set or the OMM, and then use the local connection. Type the password with 123456. Then we will see the two options. One is Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. We select the Bluetooth. Then we will see the H2's hotspots, and it will enter to the page we configuration the local network. We can enter with the router name and the password. Then we can do the initial settings for the grid code and day and time. And then we will enter the page for setting the working mode. There are 3 modes for you, and we have the descriptions for all 3 modes. So for this, you can select which one you need. Then the battery brand. Now we have SAJ brand, our SAJ brand, and Dynas brand, and Pilot battery. So we can select the measuring device. We use the meter. Then the setup is completed. It will show this page. And this picture is a parallel solution for H2. Also, we can check the data for web portals, for the application, and also for the end user. They use the solar air. That's all. Do you have any questions for this? Please feel free to ask me. Do you have any questions, Philip? The rest, do you have any question? Okay. Okay, thank you for watching the webinar. The webinar is finished. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching.